Hello and welcome, I am Dover8. We've got something a little bit slightly different from normal tonight. All the parts for my new PC have finally arrived, so I'm going to build it and try and do some recording while I build it, which might be a bit difficult. All I've got is my iPad because I've had to disconnect my old PC because I'm reusing some of the parts from that in the new one. So let's get started. Okay, so here are some of the new parts that I've got for the PC. First of all, the case. I'm using a Zalman Z11 Plus. I've made another build with this case, a kind of lightweight build, which was actually ridiculously too small for the case, but the case itself is fantastic to work with, so I've gone for that again. We've gone for a 4790K i7 processor. We've gone for an EVGA GTX 970 graphics card, the ASUS Z97 Pro Gamer motherboard. I've got the Corsair CX500M. I currently have that power supply in my old PC, so I'm going to be bringing that into this new one. 500 watts should be okay. It's maybe a little low, but we should be alright with that. We have got 8 gig of Hyper Savage RAM, which can go up to 2400 megahertz, which will hopefully do. And there's a hard drive here, but I'm reusing the ones from my old PC. We have a 250 gig SSD and a 500 gig hard drive, and I'm reusing my old PC, which is pretty damn dusty inside right now. My old rig had quad-core dual processor, GTX 285 and 4 gigs of RAM. And what I'm going to be doing is recycling that as a new PC for my mother. But I'm taking out my hard drive and putting in the new hard drive for her, and putting in a new EVGA 500 watt power supply and the new DVD drive, because the one in my old machine doesn't write discs anymore, which I'm not really bothered about, but she still does. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to take the old components out of the old PC. So I've taken the components that I need out of my old PC and I've opened up the case for a new PC out of the box. Immediately I remember why I like this case, because you can open up both sides off of it really easily and there's plenty of space to work with inside the case itself. Plenty of bay storage, good built-in fans already, built-in ventilation. It's all very nice. So we're going to go ahead and start putting our pieces together. Okay, so I've got my hard drive and my solid state drive seated within the case now. The nice thing about the Zalman Z11 is it's got this extra space for another solid state drive on the back of the case, but I've only got the one and there's no need for that. Okay, next up is installing the motherboard. I looked at a few options. I finally went with the ASUS Z97 Pro Gamer. It's got 3 slots for graphics cards, so you can do triple SLI. I've only got one card just now though. Apart from that, it's usual plugins. I went for this one. It's supposed to have superior sound due to this Supreme FX chip. Also included in the box were 4 6GB SATA cables, the SLI bridge and the usual backplate. So we'll go ahead and stick this into the case. Okay, so motherboard is in. Next step is CPU. This is the nervous step, I'd say. So I'm going to go ahead and get this installed. Okay, so I'm going to get the catch undone. this open. That reveals the slot. Take our CPU, get the packaging, and line up our grooves, and just drop it in. And there we go. And then we'll bring this over closed, and we'll take the cover off, and we'll drop this back down. And that's it. That's just installed the CPU. Next, install the fan heatsink. Plug is for the fan is up here, right up at the top of the board. So we'll install it in this way, and that way will get plugged in nicely. So these things are pretty easy to get in. Line them up into position, 4 holes, and then just push down. There we go. Clicks all round, and plug it in to the CPU fan slot on the board. Light's bad at that angle. There we go. Okay, just watch that cable is going to be in the way of the RAM. Alright, our CPU is installed. Okay, my next step is installing my power supply unit. I've decided to go with the fan facing down. In this case you can go either way, and I'm not quite sure benefits each way around, but I'm going to go with fan down. If you've got a reason why I shouldn't do this, put it in the comments below. I can always open it up and change it at a later date. Okay, now that power supply is in, I'm going to go around and hook up the main cables for the motherboard before we go ahead and get the RAM and the graphics card in there too, just so I've got space to work. So the kind of front panel one, we've got a kind of fairly open pin set for this, so we're just in a case of getting the right one on the right slot. We've got our USB 3 to hook up, our SATA 6s for our hard drives, as well as USB 2s, channel fan, chassis fan there, chassis fan there. Yeah, I've only got 2 chassis fan cables, but there's a third header there. And the HD audio is over there. So we'll go ahead and get all those hooked up. Okay, so I've spent the last half hour or so wiring up the box in as neat a way as possible. Could be tidier, but it's not too bad. There's certainly not space for putting in the extra fan at the bottom of the case, with the way things are currently. We've got this cable ready for the graphics card for when we bring it in. I also put in the CD drive in the process. I'm going to go over and tidy up the cables and put some cable ties on at the end, just to make sure we're as neat as possible. This one kind of comes in over the top of the power supply, which is a bit odd, but not a big problem. Okay, so all the hard drives are hooked up as well, the disk drive's hooked up. So I think next we shall stick in the RAM. is here. I'm going to go ahead, open up this box and get it in the case. Okay, first stick is in. I'll go ahead and get the second one in. Wishbone shadow. There we go. That's it. Clipped in. There we go. That's 8 GB of RAM right there. We have space to upgrade at a later date. Okay, so next up will be the graphics card. Okay, so the graphics card is the EVGA GTX 970. In the box we get the card itself. We get this nice wee badge which we might stick on the front of the machine at the end of the build. You get your manual, your disc, a couple of stickers. You get the connector leads for converting for the power card, but I've got a lead already. You also get a VGA to DVI adapter and a few more kind of leaflets of information, and you also get this big ass poster. I know for a fact I'm not going to be able to put that up in my house, so if anybody wants it, just put your name in the comments and drop me a private message with an address and I'll send it to you. First come, first served. Okay, so I'm going to crack this open and get it into the case. Okay, so one slightly odd thing about the Zalman case is it's the same on the front for the drive bays, but basically extra attachments in this are kind of clipped in, like it's solid piece of metal, but you can pop it out. So kind of like once you've done that, it's permanent. So make sure that you know that that's going to be the slot you're going to use before you pop it out. Okay, so I've checked that the card will go into the top slot fine, plenty of space beside the. I wasn't sure about the USB 3 cable sitting there, whether or not the card was going to interfere in it, but it's just in line with it. So I've removed the top slot there, and we'll remove the second slot as well, and I'll show you how it's done. It's just a case of bending the metal. Once you don't catch any part of your motherboard when you're doing this, and it's just a case of bending it back and forth until it snaps off. That's that top one. It's just kind of welded on 2 parts, and it's just loosening off, and there we go. That's it out. Okay, so next up I'll just grab the actual card itself. And okay, there's quite a bit of protective covering around the card that I had to remove first, but we're good to go now. Bringing it in, lining it up. Sounds like my daughter's just got up to go to the toilet, and might have actually pinged the wrong slot on the back. We want to be lining up here. Yeah, we've actually opened up the wrong slot. I shouldn't have opened this one. I should have opened this one. So I'm going to go ahead and cover that up and open this one instead. Okay, so we'll try this again. Bring the graphics card in to place into the PCIe slot. lines up. Ease it in. There we go. That is it in. Pretty much the exact width of the motherboard itself. Plenty of space beside that USB 3 cable. And space for at least SLI. I'm not quite sure how you would fit a third card in for 3-way SLI. Especially with that audio cable there. But yeah, I've only got one card for now anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and secure that and get the power cables plugged in. I've got the power cables here anyway. One and two. Okay. Now just put a couple of screws in at that end and then tidy up the cables a bit. Okay, so after some fiddling about with the cables at the back, managed to get the back case on. We did tidy things up a wee bit inside. Yeah, but the back panel of the case is now on, and I'm going to go ahead and put the front panel on now. Okay, so I put the case down on the floor. One thing is that there's a power cable for the side fan. Let's go ahead and hook that in to this cable that I quite conveniently left lying here. There we go. And once that's in, it's just a case of protective plastic. And it's just a case of lining it up and getting it slid on into this. A couple of screws in the back. There and here. Okay, I'm going to cable it up, and with any luck we shall have a working new PC. See you shortly. Okay, so moment of truth time. Gonna go ahead and turn it on. Here's hoping. Well, that's a good start. Actually powered on. Ah, then went off again. Oh, okay. Panic over. Here we go. New CPU installed. F1 to run setup. Alright, so got some BIOS settings that we can change. The motherboard. Boot priority. There should be another hard drive here because my OS is on this one. advanced mode, boot, fast boot enabled, SATA support, boot drive. Why are you not giving me boot override? Let's see, no keyboard detected. Yeah, there is. Okay, seems to be starting up. Ooh, that didn't look good. Looks like I'm going to have to troubleshoot this. Not picking up the keyboard. Okay, we'll be back shortly. Hello and welcome back. So the issues I was having last night was with Windows. Obviously we changed pretty much the entire internals of my computer, and Windows didn't like that very much, so I had to go ahead and reinstall Windows, and spent most of the day just tidying out my two hard drives, because we've kept the same hard drives from the old PC. I made a mistake in one of the earlier recordings. It's only a 120GB SSD I have, but hopefully that's going to be sufficient for the future, for the near future anyway. So the idea behind the PC build was getting a balance between cost, immediate power and scope for upgrading. So there's space for throwing some more RAM in, increasing the hard drives later, maybe getting a second 970 to go into SLI, but that's kind of unlikely. What you're seeing now is a benchmarking tool that came with the it was either the motherboard or the graphics card disk. I had this benchmarker installed, so we're running this live while doing this recording. Final part of the episode, just to see how it handles, and it's holding. This is on the absolute ultra settings for the benchmark, and it's holding it above 50 frames a second. It's got down there in the bottom right, I think that's an average 57.3. It drops with the weather effects. So there's a few more scenes here. I've been playing about with the machine today, and I'm pretty happy with it now. I did go into the BIOS scenes that we showed in the previous section, and there was like a kind of wizard mode, which I went in, said the rig's going to be used mostly for gaming, but I've only got a stock CPU cooler, so it tweaked the CPU slightly, but increased the RAM speed up to the 2440, which is what I was wanting to put it to anyway. And that's that kind of optimized for gaming going forward, and hopefully now I'm going to be able to use Shadowplay, which I'm using right now to record this, on my future YouTube videos, and hopefully they shall be a better quality than I have had in the past using OBS and just processor recording. Basically, I ran this benchmark before running it again recording, and pretty much the same score. Okay, so thanks for watching me building my PC. There was a couple of hiccups and a bit of a scary moment there when Windows wouldn't boot, but we got by it. I now have a rig that I'm proud of. My previous PC had lasted me 6 years plus maybe. I'd upgraded it a wee bit in that time, but it was in need of some further upgrading, and quite glad to have been able to get round to that. So if you've got any feedback for me that might improve maybe my selection of components in the future or my method of installing, obviously I ballsed up that bit with the case and lining up the GPU, but not a big deal. And leave them in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you and bringing you some more gameplay videos from most of Paradox games, and we'll probably throw in a few more now that my PC will be able to handle it. Okay, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again.